Just fucking do it. Subscribe now. I've been beating this chest, which isn't as muscular as it once was, for 30 fucking years doing this. And I naively thought when I gave my first seminar in May 1993 at the Sheraton Hotel that I would be filling up the Coliseum, the motherfucking Coliseum. I was one of the first to have a financial program on PBS, public broadcasting, which was about June, a year later, June 1994. And I had a program, 30-minute, and it was called Total Financial Counseling, TFC. I literally thought, naively, stupidly, ignorantly, that I'd be filling up the motherfucking Coliseum because I had found the Holy Grail. My program was canceled after 3 times. I had signed a 6-time contract 3 times. And they used to keep things in microfiche. For those, most of you aren't old enough to know what that is, but it's like the cloud of 50, 60 years ago, and all that program is disappeared. It's disappeared. And here I am 30 years later, still pounding my chest. And if I were going to do this another 30 years, which I'm not, as a percentage, we have less people doing it now than before. Because everybody doesn't want to get or create generational wealth. Talk's cheap. It takes money to buy whiskey. Now, 15, 20 years ago, I used to worry about the why then. And Sally was right. There's never going to be any competition. You can do this till... She laughed and she says, you can do this till you're 80 and nothing's going to happen. Well, I'm not quite 80 yet, but she was right. She said, it's just not going to happen. Now, I've put up a lot of stuff on the YouTube, and I thank Brian Rose from London Real to introduce me to the internet, social media, because I was ready to pack it up in 2014, and then he interviewed me, and here I am 9 years later. So I've been able to create a new flock of the new generation, i.e. you, and so I thank you for that forevermore. So I developed, arguably millions of people that have followed this, but still not, like some of the big gurus like Tony Robbins and et cetera, because not everybody wants a solution. We all know pretty much how to lose weight or not gain weight, or exercise in the right kind of calories, right? Everybody in the fucking dog knows that. There's a gazillion books been written about it, right? 60% of the people in the United States are obese. I've only written one book, a couple of books, Your First 100 Million. Nothing is different in the first 100 million book that I wrote 15, 18 years ago than today. The only difference is it's 1 or 2 more financial tools, i.e. crowdfunding. Nothing's changed because we don't use those tools. Not one of them. And we refrain from using commercial bank debt, which are really no fees. You might have an origination fee of 1% or something, but you pay the interest on the debt. And up until about a year ago, there was no interest on the debt. So it was free money. This is a mentee. Not my best mentee, not my worst mentee. The blue line, I believe, is him. The green line is... my eyes. The blue line is him. The green line is what you owe. At the end of the day, if you follow the instructions, which you're not, you're going to own about 60 to 65% of the deal. And the board members are going to own the rest. So you're going to roughly have 2/3. You're not going to listen to me because you're going to get kicked out. But anyway, if you did listen to me and you don't get kicked out, you're going to have about 2/3. In this particular case that we picked, he has 62% of the total. This is bitfuck down here, the red line. Some of you funded coming here for the bitfuck. Thank you. Even to the dumbest in the room, even the Irish lad in the back of the room. And the pig fucker, when the pig fucker saw this slide, it was different when he saw it. Oh my God. Is there any comparison between the red line, the green line, and the blue line? None. But you're not going to do it. When I show this to university students, University of Edinburgh, the chart was different then. Princeton, you can't believe it. Has this been fact-checked, Mr. Peña? I didn't even know what that meant before. Fact-checked? She's my fact-check. If I'm not sure about something, I have her check it. And I have 2 or 3 mathematician mentees. Yeah, actually, your numbers are a little low. They should be higher. This is motherfucking Bitcoin. This is you. This is the total. But you're not going to do it. Now, psychiatrists and all that, those kind of people have all kind of reasons why you're not going to do it. But it always gets down to one word. FEAR. False expectations appearing real. Now, the Irish guy that was here didn't know what expectations meant. He said, I'm going to fucking do it. And he fucking did it. God love him. And now he's trying to have sex as many times as he can in his Lamborghini. But he's getting tired of having sex in his Lamborghini. It was full in the first 40, 50 times. But he did it. But the other side of that coin is you don't want to be like the pig fucker. You don't want to sound like the pig fucker. You don't want to talk like the pig fucker. You don't want to look like the pig fucker. You're not going to do it. That's my remember slide. When I was 50, I didn't need to remember slides, but now, almost 80, I need to remember slides. Okay, Raymond. He did it, albeit pretty fucking slow, in my opinion. And he's a professional. Although he's a little pot-bellied and bald, which is all right. You can still be professional and be pot-bellied and bald. Articulate. I mean, he takes you from A to Z, as they say here, and he doesn't miss a letter. We have guys like that, gals like that. He crosses every fucking T and dots every I himself. And that's the challenge with his methodology. It's my methodology. All he did is, write it all down. But I don't cross the T's or dot the I's. I never have. I'm a macro, 60,000 foot kind of guy. Concord, looking down on everything. And I find people. And yes, are some of the people I find that they do a mediocre job? Yeah. But I replace them. I delegate everything in my life. My life is delegated to 5 women, one of which is her, since she got out of university, and 4 other women. The only thing I do is wipe my own butt. That's it. Just the opposite of you. But I've delegated everything when I had no money. 0 money. One thing I learned in the military as a young officer was I learned how to delegate. When you keep track of your weekly report time schedule, as they say here, between 60 and 90% of your week is wasted. Between 60 and 90 is non-productive. And when you see that, if you use the charts and the graphs, etc., like you're supposed to use them, some people go into depression. You're 40 years old, you wasted 38 years of your life. And you've accumulated something. Well, just imagine if I hadn't wasted 38 years, what I could have done with it. It's I coulda, woulda, shoulda. That alone, and this is not a time management course, believe me. That alone will triple or quadruple your net worth. The questions, comments about Raymond? Yes, sir, in the back. Pardon? Correct. That's his definition of a motivated seller. They used to say back in my youth, to Peña, or normally to Pina, to Danny boy, a motivated couple is her, the wife, or the female in the couple, spitting up blood from emphysema, pushing her husband who just had a stroke and is paralyzed in a wheelchair. And that's not far from the bloody truth. I used to go to funeral parlors prospecting. What else about Raymond? Nobody in this room has ever met a motivated seller. Nobody. Not even remotely close to motivated. When we get to the scripts and the phone calls, hi, and we teach you how to go through the gatekeepers and all that shit, and you finally get the person, the decision maker. Hi, my name's Dan Peña. Have you ever considered selling your business? What's that, 2 seconds? 2.5 seconds? Won't do that. Because at some level, you want the guy or the gal or the it on the other end of the phone to like you. We have 1 or 2 people in this room that are purported cold calling motherfuckers. If you have a bit of sales experience, not success, experience. One of our superstars from the 90s sold knives door to door. Another Hall of Famer gave away, when they show up at your door and they're wearing, like in the Men in Black, giving away Bibles door to door. And it's all, how much training have you had in rejection? And that's why that thing that I showed you, this is not your father's boot camp. This is really not your grandfather's boot camp. And I was appalled when I started in 93. People would call their training boot camps. And they weren't boot camps. They put battery wires to my testicles in my fucking boot camp. And that's why that generation was so much more successful. In the 90s, in the early 2000s, we gave no tapes, no scripts, no slides. We didn't even fucking have slides. No, nothing. When Dan Locke and Bruce Whipple came here about 10 years ago, they happened to repeat about the same time. And Dan Locke said, the only thing you don't do, Dan, is hold their motherfucking hand and make a sale for them. They didn't get anything. Nothing. What else about Raymond? Yes, sir.
Mr. Peña, on your audiobook, you mentioned that the source of your dealing to find the money, and it's like a multiple sources, and the commercial bank it's a last resort. And
No. Funding is the last resort. Commercial bank of the funding, if you have to get somebody's money, is the last of the last resort. We don't need any fucking money. Raymond did those deals with no fucking money. Not a penny of his own money. Not a penny of anybody else's money. And then commercially, he got, and one was 100% seller finance, if I remember correctly, and one was about 90% commercial banking. And then one was 100% commercial banking. See, you putting up equity is a myth that is perpetuated. It's like during World War II and World War I, America, they had signs, Uncle Sam needs you for the war, you know? Well, one, there's no Uncle Sam. And two, they don't fucking really need you. They need cannon fodder, okay? You've been led to believe, whether you went to a big business school or you didn't go to any school, that somebody's got to write a fucking check. Who's got skin in the game? The first question your chairman or potential chairperson is going to ask you, who's putting up the fucking money? And even though you've got the answer, you're going to go, like somebody's stuck a turd in your mouth. But none of your money. And although we've got kids, probably 25% of the kids that are doing deals today are either putting up money and or signing guarantees, which are both not requirements of the QLA model. Because you give in and you're so desperate to do the deal. Now, so finish your question or your statement.
No, my question is why he didn't use the other sources of finding the money.
Because commercial bank is the cheapest. You go to a pension fund, they're going to want 12 or 15%. You go to a hedge fund, they're going to want 20, 25%. You go to a family office, they're going to want 12 to 15%. I go down the line. You go to a commercial bank, I think he paid 4% or 5%.
But in terms of presentation, it will be the same for commercial banks and other.
You're not going to go to any other. Stop it. We show you what the possibilities are. We're not showing you that that's a probability. No. Warming up banks means warming up banks. Doesn't mean warming up insurance companies. Doesn't mean warming up private offices, family offices. Doesn't mean warming up hedge funds. Banks. You're going to warm up 10 or 15 banks. Commercial banks. Barclays, ING, Deutsche, Bank of America. Nowhere in the book or the scripts we mention all it, but we don't, the stuff you're going to get, and that was written 15, 18 years ago, and you're going to, you know, hi, may I speak to a credit officer? And some banks have it already in verticals. In what industry, sir? Oil and gas, healthcare, whatever. Okay, you get to a person that is hired to get you in the office with a business plan, and you'll say, "Are you still in the credit lending mode?" And they'll say, "Yes." And they says, "In what part of the vertical of healthcare, oil and gas?" And you tell them what vertical, and may I speak to them? And all you want the bank to say is, yes, we're still in the credit mode. And by the way, if today you're in the credit mode, what are your lending parameters? This takes about 15 fucking seconds. You won't, but you're not, I don't even know why I waste my time telling you, because you're not going to do it. And they say, well, the current lending parameters are, 3.5 to 5.5 EBITDA. Well, what's your sweet spot? 5. Thank you very much. Go fuck yourself. Click. That's it. But you won't do that. I don't even know why I give you the fucking scripts. We got a French lady, we don't use her webinar anymore, Margot. She was in Switzerland 3 or 4 years ago, the Female Entrepreneur of the Year. A French gal. And she says, finally I just use the scripts and I don't know why they work, but they do. Anything else about Raymond? Yes, sir.
He's basically the polar opposite end of the spectrum to the pig fucker, and it's almost like when I was watching it, I was thinking obviously he knows his shit, but it kind of in the first 2 years he probably could have acquired 15 companies in that time if you were following the process like the other lad was. What was his name? It was the guy we watched yesterday.
Ravi.
No.
Raymond.
No, Raymond, the guy the day before yesterday.
Gabriel.
Gabriel, yeah. And it was almost like, I don't know if those 800 days were like procrastination or whether they were actually just...
No, he worked like a dog for 800 days. He had 7 LOIs, if I remember correctly. All said, and he got some good techniques, which he learned, like he says, all of them from me. But he actually paid attention, unlike you fucking pig fuckers. And you should have the LOIs expire on Friday. You know, normally he gave him 3 or 4 days. He had 7 LOIs. He put out 7 LOIs before he did his first deal. The 8th deal was the LOI that was accepted. The 100% commercial financing, banking, a bank. Some bank in fucking Connecticut, it doesn't matter what bank. A government contract, healthcare, IT. So he developed, IT and healthcare, he kind of merged them together. Government contract, it's a 5-year contract. It's 1 year renewable 4 times or 5 times, something like that. Okay. We haven't talked about government contracts, which is a license to steal, but none of you are going to do it. I've got less than 10 people in 30 years that have done government contracts. He's one of them. Like he's standing there. It's how I started. $50 million in business my first year, no employees. A leased fax machine. You know the story? We've had 9 other people. 8 including Raymond. Or not including Raymond. In 30 motherfucking years. How is that possible? See, you think that I'm trying to use some reverse motherfucking psychology on you when I say you're not going to do it, and then I'll get you to do it? No, I'm not. I'm just telling you the fucking truth. When I say the world is through, 50, for those of you that are around 50 years from now, the world is about to end. I told you to see the movie 12, didn't I? Didn't I? No? Oh, no, you had already come already. There's a movie 12 about the end of the world. The Mayan calendar of the world ends on 2012 at Beba. And it ends by water. Very biblical. And for those of the couple of the young ones that are still around after the world ended, they're going to say, that old fucker knew. How did he know? The door opening number 4 is commercial real estate, which will be the beginning of the end. Only for this cycle. Thank you, YouTube.